Hi, just a bit of a part two to my first video on the MacBook Pro, just to show you a little bit more about the device. You've got a webcam at the top there, which is of decent quality. You have a very nice keyboard. I do like the keyboard on this, I have to say. It's very smooth, reasonably tactile. You certainly know when you press the key. Each key is very individually inserted into the aluminium construction or case, very nicely implemented within the case. You've got the trackpad, which is absolutely fantastic. It's very large. There's 3-finger gestures. With Lion you can create new home screens just by swiping it like that, go backwards and forwards with 2 fingers depending on what you're scrolling through, scroll up and down with 2 fingers, and it's very responsive. And that's the key with any input device like this. It has to be responsive. It has to recognize the multi gestures without the user having to continually, tell it I'm using 2 fingers now, and for it to recognize that. It just recognizes it immediately. Apple really have got the user experience, in my view, down to a T, not just with the software that they write, but with the hardware. And it goes back to the thing that the late Steve Jobs always said, was that the marriage of hardware and software, not necessarily actually his words of course, but what he's basically saying is that the marriage of hardware and software is the way to go if you really want to create great products and a great user experience. And I think he's absolutely right, and that is borne out in all of Apple's products. And that is why focusing on the user experience means that users can use the hardware and use the software. They don't have to worry about the technicalities about it. It's there to be used. A car is there for most people to be driven without ever having to look under the bonnet and try and fix it all the time, which unfortunately with other operating systems is often the case. But with Apple, with the Macintosh especially, it just works brilliantly. So just thought I'd show you that side of things. Just go back underneath again. When I first got this laptop, it came with, I think it was a 360 gigabyte hard drive, like I said in the first video. For my needs, that wasn't enough space. And I was actually quite annoyed in some respects, because this is again, I come back to price again. As lovely as these products are, I almost didn't go down this route, because this thing's £1,000, and I crippled myself to buy it because I really wanted to get into a MacBook. But it took me many months of thinking about it before I decided to take the plunge. And when you spend that sort of money on a 13-inch screened laptop and you get less than a 500 gigabyte hard drive, I think that's a bit tight of Apple. I think a device of this cost, of this price range, 500 gigabytes should be an entry level hard drive in my view. So I bought a separate hard drive because it was certainly considerably cheaper than paying the extra that Apple wanted for them to put in the hard drive. I cloned the hard drive that it came with to the 500 gigabyte one and installed it in here. Brilliantly easy, so simple. The manual that you get with this device actually gives you instructions on how to replace the hard drive. Not frankly that you'd need it. It's very easy. You can see that the base plate is just held by a series of screws, which are very easy to remove with a half decent jeweler's screwdriver, and the whole plate just lifts away. And underneath you've got access to the hard drive and also the memory slots. But this comes with 4 gigabyte of memory, which is healthy, and that's certainly enough for my needs. But the storage of 360 gig wasn't. So upgrading it was very, very simple. Incidentally, I cloned it using a free piece of software called Super Duper. Bit of a strange name, but there you go. And that cloned the original hard drive to my new 500 gigabyte one. I used a serial ATA connector with a USB port for that purpose. Very simple, very straightforward, and everything worked first time. Very, very simple indeed. And there is a lot of software out there. It's not just the Apple stores. There's a lot of third-party software out there for the Macintosh. A lot of it is free as well. One of the things that is often promoted about the Apple Macintosh is the fact that it doesn't suffer from PC viruses, and indeed I don't have any virus protection on this device, but that's probably going to change as more and more people are migrating over to Apple and getting Apple Macintosh. I suspect that we will see a very, very strong increase in the number of malware and virus software attacks taking place against Mac users, which will be unfortunate, but that is probably an inevitability if Apple continues to grow in the direction that they are. We're already seeing that sort of attack on Android mobile phones, and because the marketplace there has let a few things through, but probably more importantly because third-party applications can be installed directly from the internet, which is also an issue for OS X at the moment, but you don't want to be totally locked down in the same way as you are with the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod. But perhaps on the other hand, that's not a bad thing. If all your software came from one source, such as an Apple store, for example, or a similar store, and it was properly policed and all the software was examined for viruses and malware, perhaps that's the way to go, and to stop all this criminal activity on the net. Let's see. So I suppose the watchword is always be careful what you open on email, and be careful about the source of software that you install on your machine. Anyway, that's probably going a bit off topic there. As I said before, if you're thinking about moving over to Mac, then I highly recommend it. If you're a dedicated Windows user, then that's fine too. I think Microsoft are really starting to get to grips with the challenge that firms such as Apple have set them. It seems to me that Windows 8 is going to be a pretty good operating system, a very good operating system. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these things have developed. But there you go. I've moved over to Windows now. Windows to Mac OS X. I'm still a Windows user. I've got other machines, but my main personal computing platform is now OS X, and I'm very happy about that. Okay, so that's the second part. I hope there's not really much I'm showing you here. It's just the video of the machine itself, which is pretty straightforward. By the way, the keyboard's illuminated as well, which is very nice. But it's all about me being talking away, and hopefully I haven't bored you. If I have, my apologies. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. All the very best, and see you again. Cheers.